What's up, people? This is your boy CJ Match, and you're listening to Blackpen Radio.
Welcome back, my lovely viewer. This is Elijah Mugo, and this is your favorite weekly show on education and the education landscape. This is Somascope, and I'm joined here by my co-host,
Mercy.
Yes, and today we are diving in deeper about CBC. So, what is CBC, Mercy?
Oh, CBC is a new curriculum in Kenya. CBC actually stands for Competence-Based Curriculum. It's a curriculum that was introduced in 2017, and it's basically a curriculum that focuses on developing practical skills, knowledge, attitude, and values of learners.
Right.
Yeah. Just to say a bit more, CBC basically is a curriculum that puts the learners out there to learn and experience real life application of what they are learning.
Right, that's actually quite important. I see one of the things we face as educators, I'm not sure. I actually quite believe that you'll agree with me, is student apathy, where students do not see how whatever they're learning actually relates to real world. Yeah. And so they become careless. Like some of us remember how we disliked chemistry because we call like nitachora easy bonds wapi. Remember? That was, yeah. So CBC came about 2017. That's what you said?
Yes, 2017.
And it's so you're saying it has real life applications to that, and students can be able to manage and maneuver through the world even with that whatever they've learned.
Yes. So with CBC, I've said it started in 2017. Let me recap on that. And the first cohort, the pioneers, are currently in 2025 in grade 9.
Grade 9?
Yes.
Oh, I have a sister in grade 9. She is
a pioneer of CBC.
Yeah.
That's what it means.
Yeah, right. That's incredible.
Yeah, and also to add, CBC is broken. You know, previously we had 8 years in primary 4
school.
In high school, 4 in college.
Right.
In CBC we have 2663.
So what does 2663 mean?
It means 2 years in preschool,
right?
What we call, or what you hear as PP1, pre-primary 1, and pre-primary 2.
Right.
People have heard a lot about having playgroup, but that is not captured in the CBC curriculum. The official class is pre-primary 1, shortly PP1, PP2. That's the first 2 years. Then we have the other 6 years in primary school, grade 1 to grade 6.
Grade 6.
Then 3 years in junior secondary. That's
and then
grade 7, 8, and 9. And then the other 3 years in senior secondary, which is grade 10, 11, and 12. That's where CBC, the 3 at the end stands for.
Right.
Yes.
That's quite unique. So I see they've changed the structure from how it used to be from the previous curriculum. I mean, the other education structure. Does that, I'm not sure, but are the different institutions affected, especially the higher learning institutions?
After grade 12, a learner will leave the curriculum or the system with the skills that can get them to work, or they can opt to go for tertiary training, or even now maybe join colleges or universities to study the careers they chose during the career path choice that's happening in grade 9 actually this year.
Oh, that's wonderful. So you mean immediately after grade 12, you are equipped enough to begin working. You're market ready.
Yeah, you're market ready.
Oh, that's actually a huge deal. Yeah. Depending on the path you choose. So if you need to, for example, utatoka hapo and you think you were certified because you killed a bunch of rabbits or dissected some frogs, you're not going to be a medic.
No.
So that's what she means. So depending on the path that you took,
Yeah.
You might end up, if you did especially the crafts, I'm sure maybe welding, woodwork, you might definitely get a job, and you can continue if you're passionate maybe later on. But then you'll be market ready, and that's actually a good thing. I believe the government, that's a plus. I believe especially hands-on, practical and experiential learning is the way to go. So
the other thing to point out is that CBC has quite some unique attributes. Like many people still ask, what is this CBC different from 844?
What makes it different from the rest?
In essence, not just the things parents say, now we are buying this we didn't used to buy, but what is essentially different. One of the things that's really different with CBC, or one of the attributes that makes it qualified to be called CBC,
sets it apart,
is first what we call the learner-centered approach.
Learner-centered approach.
Of teaching or learning, whereby a teacher is supposed to teach, not just teach a group. In fact, we don't have teachers in CBC. We have what we call facilitators.
Fancy,
So this person is supposed to facilitate learning based on the different capabilities of the learners in her class, his or her class. Okay? If you have learners who we refer to as time takers, you cannot go at the same pace
with the other students.
If you have a learner who if you teach in class, they don't just grasp that and get it, you need to formulate or find ways of instilling. For example, if a learner doesn't really understand what you mean by saying 2 + 2 is 4, you need to practically take that child out, have the child count practical 2 items of whatever choice, and if possible, things that the learner is passionate about. If the learner is passionate about maybe like cars, have the child count 2 toy cars, another 2, add them together, and they'll grasp the concept of 2 + 2 is 4.
So you're meaning CBC, not also the learner-centered approach means the teacher actually appeals to the different learning kids. And so if the student is not a visual learner, if they learn through experience, you do that and you appeal to what they love. So you're teaching in a way that they best learn. And wow, that sounds intriguing.
Another attribute is what we call, we refer to as continuous assessment. In the previous curriculum, there's something you used to hear, CATs.
Yes, we did.
What were CATs?
Oh, those things, they terrified me. They were, to put it frankly, they were monstrous conventions of teachers to put you down. Okay, well, especially in high school. But to be honest, they were just continuous assessment tests. They were exams, sort of mini exams that were meant to gauge you and point you to a path. So help you see whether you've been doing the right thing or you need to shape up in some areas.
Those are really critical in CBC.
Indeed.
Because in CBC we don't have exams. In CBC we have assessments. Once a teacher teaches a concept.
Sorry, you said there are no exams?
Oh, and they are not teachers, they are facilitators.
And they are not teachers.
Once the facilitator believes they have covered a concept in class, they ought to come up with an assessment to see the level that learners have grasped that concept. This sounds
it sounds very familiar to something else.
Yes.
That I'd like us to, maybe we'll venture on next time. The characteristics that you're talking about parallel, or they are very in tandem with another curriculum that I'm thinking of. And so they might be going to the same, which is kind of cool, thinking about it, that we are going to the same direction. That's it's
I hope you bring that curriculum maybe
most definitely
soon.
Yes, soon. Okay. So please keep in touch, stay alert, mostly subscribe so that you know when the next show comes in. But please carry on.
So with the what we called CATs then now are supposed to gauge the level of understanding of these concepts that the facilitator has brought to class. And that's why even in scoring, when we assess, we either determine a learner as meeting expectation, approaching expectation, below expectation, or exceeding expectations.
Exceeding expectations.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Now that's one attribute. Another attribute. Then we have another parental involvement attribute.
It's crucial.
I believe that there has been some misinformation, and parents really don't like this aspect of CBC. What have you heard out there?
Well, first of all, it feels like parents are supposed to do the heavy lifting when it comes to CBC. They are, in essence, students. They are supposed to be learning also. They do a lot of the assignments, and that does not settle well with the parents.
No, okay, I'll put it this way. The parental involvement, it's unfortunate. That's the understanding that has been put out there. But the idea is for, at grade 9 right now, one of the things parents with grade 9 learners or those with grade 9 learners as siblings will agree with is something that's happening right now is career choice or career path choices, right? Who are people who are we are involving in the career choices? The teachers, the learners, and who else?
And the parents.
The parents.
Right.
So how will you know if you're directing your child the right way if from the onset you've not been engaging with your child when he or she is taking doing these hands-on activities and homeworks. So that's the reason why the parental involvement is really critical.
Right.
So that the parent may walk this path with the child, so that at the career path level, choice level, the parental contribution will be from an informed point.
Yeah, thank you for saying that. I remember most of us were given a beating or a lecture at least.
Yeah.
If you had some a bit of liberal parents, those who would let you have your way. But most of us had our parents, like there were 5 careers that were okay. So you either a doctor, an engineer, an architect, and they didn't have room for wiggling because some of them didn't spend enough time to see your strengths, and they only were choosing from, these were some of the best careers in their day, and they might have not met the expectations, and now they want to leave them in you. And now that you're saying this, the fact the parents are more involved in their students, in their child's academic lives, now they get to become part of it, and they're able to guide them to choosing careers that are more fulfilling because they're more engaged. That's awesome, to be honest.
Another attribute of this curriculum is the technology involvement or integration. You'll agree, it also comes, unfortunately, as a misinformation, where people are talking about the kids needing computer and doing a lot of printing or technology things, but it's just that this is misinformation. If you look at the information presented even in the books, the course books, CBC course books, you realize that the learner is supposed to learn about a concept, grasp that concept, and use various ways to internalize it. And one of the ways to internalize it is to do research on the concept. And most of that research, because some of these things that are being taught are very new, is where do you best research? If it's a new concept, you cannot find it in an older book. The best place to find is
Wikipedia. I mean the internet.
Yes. And hence the technology involvement.
Right. But that's well, I'm glad that you clarified that. Yes, especially things in the age that we are, things are constantly shifting.
Yeah.
But to be honest though, not everything can be seen. We cannot dismiss the fact that a lot of people are taking advantage of the misinformation.
Yeah. And
they are using it to, printing gets more expensive if you need
the parents. Yeah, sure.
If you need anything pertaining to do with school, I'm not sure whether you've had it in your area. Personally, I've experienced it. You'll see colored photocopy. So long as if you're having the 5 senses printed out on a cyber cafe, just because it's something to do with CBC. They mark up. They might do a margin of like 5 times.
Yeah.
And you will be. It is especially costly, and this hurts the poor parent who doesn't have the printer at home.
Yes.
Anyway, but I'm really happy to hear they're making those amendments.
Yeah.
And I'm especially ecstatic that I've met some passionate people who are doing this.
Yes.
And so what are your questions? What are some of the things that you're struggling with, especially pertaining to CBC?
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the things that you have particularly learned about and are very grateful to hear? And what are some of the holes that you like to poke in the CBC? So we are eagerly waiting to hear your feedback.
Yes.
Maybe something else you'd like to say about CBC?
Yeah, allow me also to say that and not to dismiss that. Indeed, CBC does come with its fair share of challenges.
Indeed, yeah.
And we are not ignoring that fact. But some of the challenges are basically because it's a new thing.
Mm-hmm.
So you find the teachers' preparedness, structural preparedness, like in terms of equipping the learning institutions. Is not at where it should be.
Right.
Yeah. So there are those challenges that come with the curriculum, but they should not make us not give it a chance.
Right.
Yeah, let's give it a chance. Let's get the good out of the curriculum, and hopefully in future we're hoping and praying that the government and also the private sector can work together. Right. To maybe eradicate these challenges, maybe make sure the institutions are well equipped with technology, make sure the retooling of teachers is done properly, so that this curriculum can be embraced by more people than we are seeing today.
Right.
Yes.
Well. Right, so Madam Mercy, you were just telling me about how the various characteristics that make CBC so different and so unique compared to this old system that we had. So kindly shed light to that.
Yeah, there are many small details that parents, teachers and learners ought to know that differentiate CBC from our previous curriculum, 844. For instance, parents and all of us are used to saying teachers. In CBC, we actually do not have teachers.
Right.
What we have are what we refer to as facilitators. They facilitate learning.
So all teachers are
They
fired.
don't teach.
If you're listening and you're saying you're a CBC teacher,
then you should be fired. So we don't have teachers, we're facilitators.
Right.
I also you hear people say, have they covered the syllabus? Syllabus.
Right. Yeah.
Syllabus is not a CBC term. In CBC, we have curriculum designs.
Yes. You should be taking notes. Curriculum
design that the teacher follows to ensure the facilitator follows to make sure they have delivered the concepts required to the learners.
To the learners adequately, right?
Exactly. And also in CBC, when we talk about topics, that's a need for 4 term.
Right.
We call them strands.
Strands.
Yes.
So no topics.
No topics. So if you hear or see strand on an assessment rubric or such, you know that's what we used to call topic.
Topics, right.
And which means a subtopic is?
Substrand.
Very good.
Subtopic.
Yes, that's very good. Also, that brings us now to the what we call report books. We don't have report books in CBC.
What do you have now?
We have assessment rubrics.
Assessment rubrics. That sounds fancy.
Yeah, because
like
in 844 we could score 80%, 70%, 40%. That's the end of it. No. In CBC, as we aforementioned, you indicate as the learner met the expectation, as the learner exceeded the expectation,
right?
Is the learner below expectation, and so on.
Right.
So that's why it's a rubric.
It's a rubric.
Yes.
So, okay.
There are other things, a couple others. For example, when we say end term exams, that should be done away with.
completely.
So the term exams and examination
shouldn't exist. We have
Right.
assessments.
assessments.
You have heard we say assessment rubrics.
Right.
That's where we indicate how the assessments have been conducted.
Okay.
So after delivering a concept to a class,
Mhm.
ensuring that every learner has grasped it, the teacher assesses them using assessment tests.
Oh. Okay.
Like that's it's closer to what we used to have as CATs in
Oh,
844,
yeah. I
where
remember.
a teacher will teach a topic in biology, and then one evening during prep they're like,
Just randomly
There's a card.
gives you a card.
yeah.
Right. Those were the worst.
But now it had a very bad connotation, like
Those days, yes.
yes. But now it's an assessment test to see how well a concept has been understood by individual learners.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
What about subject matter?
That's another one. You say English subject. We don't have subjects.
Mhm.
We call them learning areas.
Learning areas.
Yes.
Okay.
And actually, we used to say mathematics, English
Mhm.
subjects.
Right.
We say mathematical activities,
Right.
English activities,
Mhm.
so on and so forth. Those are learning areas. Because we don't just learn mathematics, we participate in mathematical activities.
Yeah.
Yes.
Indeed, we do. So you're not just there like a bystander. You're
No.
actually engaged. And
Yeah.
You're participating. Wow, that's very well put. I believe that will be edifying for a lot of parents out there and other like-minded people and other people in the institution as well. So if you're a teacher, please word up vocabulary. You've heard of what's said. To sound a bit better equipped, please learn your vocabulary, keep a book, diary, and get up to speed. This has been Elijah Mugo and Marcy, and this was Somerscope. See you next week, same time, same place.
What's up, people? This is your boy CJ Match, and you're listening to Blackpen Radio.